creative and tech people and founders of Hull. Welcome to the very first rebirth of Creative One. And this is intended to be a monthly get-together in collaboration with the Edge Hub. We want people to come together and realise the potential of the environment that exists today in Hull and throughout the world for technology and creativity to come together in something that's called Create Tech. Now that's quite a new name, I know. I used to call it the creative industries, but I'm very passionate about how people connect and collaborate. And I think that can only really truly be done when you can press the flesh of someone and look them in the eye and say, yeah, I think I could work with that person. Because it only takes two people to get together, doesn't it? And ideally start a project, find some funding. Who loves finding funding?
No.
Yeah, I know you're all passionate about that. Now, as an independent, if you've been around for a while, you know how tough that can be. But even if you work within a company and you've got a project that you want to get sorted, then you've got to go internally and present a good argument to support that project and those funds. So this is what this is intended to be: is a monthly get-together where we bring speakers. Tonight, I'll let Elly introduce the people tonight. But we've got an interesting speaker who I'm in partnership with, called Matt Houldsworth, and also Sherin Matthew, who's the thought leader in AI. Has anybody heard about AI recently? Has it changed your paradigm of how you've thought about things? Well, you can guarantee that every business in Hull is going to be affected in some way by that, and we're going to have a very interesting talk later. And please, 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 think about questions you want to ask these people, because afterwards, after we've had the talks, what I'd like to encourage you to do is we'll give you a minute to stand up and simply introduce yourself and what your project is, if you want to, or what your service is. Because unless you tell people en masse, you're probably afterwards, when we do the creative mingling, when you can just chat afterwards, you'll probably get to meet the person that you could potentially be a collaborator. So I'd like to introduce you to Elly from the Edge Hub, and she's just going to say a little bit about the Edge, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
I get a clap as well.
Oh, yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Elly. As Paul said, we are the Edge Hub. Some of our team are here this evening, and we're opening in the coming weeks, May time. So we'll be launching the Edge with some events and things. So it'd be great to see people at those events as well. Antonio in the front row is our CEO and founder, and he's going to say a little bit more about the specifics around the Edge in a little while. I don't want to kill you all off with all of our information. We also deliver Tech Week Humber, which the Edge is kind of almost a legacy of what that started out to be, which was connecting skills and enterprise in the region, in the tech sector. So we're really pleased and excited to be working with Paul on these events and these meetups, and as Paul said, it'd be great to learn a little bit more about you guys, and maybe if people could sort of connect on LinkedIn and things afterwards, that'd be brilliant, because we can all share each other's details. So I will announce our first speaker, the fantastic Matt Houldsworth. Sorry, I'm just gonna figure it out a bit more.
Go on then.
Matt's been a really close friend of Tech Week Humber with his amazing product that he'll tell you about. But he's also worked with us on some Futures in Tech education workshops for children across the city, and he's a real advocate of trying to get people to spark their interest and passion in the tech sector, especially in this region. So thank you so much for joining us, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, I'm Matt Houldsworth, founder and CEO of Veribly. I've known Antonio and Paul for quite some time. We actually launched Veribly at 2022 Tech Week Humber event. I'll be talking a little bit about how that went and actually how we got some funding for that from the local council to make that happen. Some innovative ways of finding funding and grants, and actually our capital raise that we're working on, and touching on tokenomics and blockchain and Web3 and RFID and many other things. So in 2019, I was out of the country for 268 days of the year. You can imagine what happened in 2020 when some idiot shut the world down. We went from doing hundreds of thousands of pounds per month to doing nothing, and it didn't go very well. It ended very rapidly. So I was personally faced with, I had to lay off a lot of staff, and if you've ever had to do that, you'll know how that affects you. It wasn't a good time. But I was faced with a decision, either give up or carry on. It is a decision, it is an option to give up, but it's not really an option to give up. You have to pick yourself back up and you have to carry on and you have to move forward. So the question was posed to me in my own head, what do we do? What am I good at? What have we done before that we're good at? What am I passionate about? And that's where I got to in my life, was I actually want to do something meaningful. In 2009, I set up a campaign group to kind of reduce the needless use of plastics. We all know, I have a saying, you don't have to be Sir David Attenborough to understand that we've got a serious problem with plastic and carbon as well, global warming. But I set up a campaign group in 2009. I sat down with a marketing friend of mine. She owns an agency in London. And she said, Matt, after I'd digested everything out my brain that we'd done, you're always banging on about plastic and the environment and so on. And this system that you're calling an asset management system, that you're tracking all these 900 million assets, actually it's a circular system. The containers that we were tracking were refillable containers that were used many thousands of times, that went round and round and round in a chain. And actually, that's where we need to be getting for sustainability purposes. We need to be moving to, instead of having our Dettol bottle that's used once, made, used, disposed of, hopefully recycled, but not very likely, unfortunately, to a container that's reused many times. Either you take back to the shop and you refill, or you return it and the manufacturer refills it. So it kind of was posed to me, it's kind of posed to me that, can you not just apply that same technology that you've developed for the asset tracking system to everyday items? Now, the system that we use was a system called RFID. Some of you might be familiar with what RFID is. Radio frequency identification. It's like electronic barcodes. The technology that we used for the asset tracking system was what's called low frequency. So it's no good really for anything outside an industrial setting. What we needed was RFID that you could use en masse with standard mobile phones that everybody has in their pockets. So that's where we've been working in developing what's generally known as NFC, which is actually high frequency RFID, into something that can be used by everyday consumer products, easily used by brands, integrated into products. I was very fortunate. I don't know whether you know the yachtswoman Ellen MacArthur, Dame Ellen MacArthur, sorry. She coined the phrase the circular economy. And I'd been badgering her, and this is where persistence kind of comes in. I'd been badgering her for months to get a meeting with her, to just sit and talk to her. Incredible woman, just the way she communicates with clarity is actually quite amazing. Anyway, she finally gave in and said, I'm on a train from Edinburgh to London on this day. If you can join me, I'll sit and talk to you. So I drove to Doncaster, I got on the train and I sat down with her. And she talked to me about what she believes this circular economy, this reuse of refillable containers is all about. And her main message in that was that if one person in the chain fails to do what we want them to do, the whole thing falls down. So I took that away with me, and being kind of neurodiverse, which I am in my brain, started to, right, okay, I've got something here. Light bulbs come on. I know that I can actually make that message that my marketing friend had told me, can you not apply that same technology and make a circular system to actually what I feel is the missing link. And that is that all these companies have logistics tracking systems, okay? So it's been done to death. Everybody's got an asset management system that tracks pallets of goods coming out of their warehouses, how many have they got in the warehouse, how many is on the truck, how many is in the retail. That's been done to death. It's very controlled, so they control their products in that chain. If it's a reusable container, they're controlling it in that chain. The problem comes when that reusable container gets sold to somebody, because it's out of their control then. When I buy this bottle of Dettol and I take it home, Dettol no longer have any control over what happens to that. So what we have to do is we have to try and work with the customer, engage the customer to start doing what we want them to do. And that's kind of where we started bringing all the threads together for Variably. And this is where we start becoming not all things to all men, but actually we get a lot of tangible benefits. One of the big problems with smart technology is it's costly, okay? So for somebody to put our smart tech onto one of their products, it's a cost. So just to say, well, just track your products with it, that's not enough. That's not a big enough business case. You've got to build the overall business case to make it actually worthwhile. So we do brand protection. We create a direct and instant connection channel to a customer. We deliver content and information to customers. We enable the circular economy, and we do the supply chain tracking. So RFID. This is a non-branded, cheap Android mobile phone. Nothing special about this, no software installed on it. This is just out of the box. If I just tap that, we immediately bring, and you won't be able to see that, I'll demonstrate it to you later, immediately start delivering interactive content to customers. We can track how many times it's been reused and refilled. We can track the carbon footprint or the carbon advantage as it is, of reduction of reusing. We can tell people where to refill. We can get direct customers through subscriptions. We can show them videos. We can show them ingredients, allergen and nutrition information, carbon footprint information, CSR information, so how they treat the staff and the environment and so on. But then delivering useful and meaningful content, so recipes, things that people will come back to actually interact with. And the whole idea is that we're actually getting people to interact with the products, we're delivering them meaningful content, we're giving them reasons to keep interacting, and then, because they're engaged, we're allowing them to do bigger things. This is probably the wrong way around, but brand protection is a big issue. By brand protection, we mean stopping people faking products. So if we have a bottle of my favourites, Glenfiddich, okay? If I've never had Glenfiddich before, and I buy a bottle of Glenfiddich from a corner shop or a market or something, I take it home and I drink it, and it tastes like vinegar. I'm not going to buy from Glenfiddich again. I'm not going to buy it. I don't know it's fake. I just assume Glenfiddich tastes like vinegar. That's bad, okay? However, if it's Nurofen and it's fake, and I take them, at best, the tablet's going to be made out of flour. At worst, who knows what cocktail of chemicals and drugs that there are in that. I used to think that. We've recently started talking to a major drinks manufacturer, and unfortunately I can't reveal because we're in an NDA, but there will be some very big news being announced, hopefully in the next few months. But one of the leading, probably on the bar there, best known whiskies, if you Google their name, fake, you will find that there are health alerts about drinking that whiskey because it is actually damaging people's kidneys. And this is whiskey coming out of being imported from foreign countries, single malt Scotch whiskey, purportedly, being imported back into the UK and sold to UK citizens. 1.2 billion bottles of single malt. This is the scale of it. 1.2 billion bottles of single malt are produced in Scotland every year. A further 400 million fake bottles of single malt are sold worldwide. That's the scale of it. So what's that? Somebody better than maths at me? 30% more? A lot. So it's a big problem. Actually, the counterfeiting industry is $800 billion worldwide. So a massive problem. But like I say, if it's just brand damage, that's bad enough for the brand, and actually enough for the brand to say we actually need to do something about it. But if it's something that could actually damage your health, that's going to be really serious. There are solutions out there, and this is where the creative thing comes in and the innovation thing comes in. There are solutions out there. Of course, you could just stick RFID tags onto product and have it resolved to an app or a web page that says yes or no, this is fake or not. Nike trainers, if anybody's got any Nike trainers, all Nike trainers are tagged with RFID tags for the reason of counterfeiting. Unfortunately, the tags in Nike trainers can be copied, can be cloned, and can be pasted effectively onto the tag that's on this, and then I can get you to scan this, and this is now a Nike trainer, which obviously not really where you want to be when you're trying to stop people counterfeiting your products. So what we've innovated is a system which is 100% unclonable. It has a three-pronged attack. So we use the tag, a bespoke tag, which is developed for us. We put a security layer onto the tag. The tag links with the cloud. The tag also links with the mobile app. The mobile app links with the cloud, and the mobile app links with the tag. So it's a complete circular system. If any one of those points is broken, then it doesn't resolve as being a genuine item. Customer engagement, and this is where we started with Paul. Before I started talking to Paul, we were talking about customer engagement being, right, let's engage people with the sustainability message. Let's engage people with Marmite, or Unilever as it is, wanting you to return that and reuse it. But the question is, does that actually work? You know, if you're as old as I am, you'll remember adverts in the 80s saying recycle, recycle, recycle. Television adverts saying take your aluminium cans back and they'll be turned into trains and aeroplanes, for goodness sake. That's the ludicrous nature of it. But the fact of the matter is, just telling people to do something doesn't work. You must doesn't work. We know that as parents. It doesn't work for kids, it doesn't work for us, it's a non-starter. So actually what we need to do is we need to open up that engagement to be something bigger. So that's where we need to start engaging them with useful content. Things that they are going to actually interact with it, they're going to learn things from. So the recipes, the how-to information. We're going to be talking about AI, I think, later, but we are developing, not ChatGPT, we're not developing a ChatGPT, but the ability to have natural language questions to products through the app to say, I don't know, I spilt red wine on the carpet. Can I clean red wine with Dettol? And then it will come back with an answer. So engaging people with that sort of content that is meaningful and useful. For the brands, that's great, because the marketing opportunity with that instant connection with the customer being able to directly connect with it, actually we're learning of course, about that customer. We're learning about what they like and what they don't like. The brand themselves are learning about that customer. Actually, you can then bespoke the content to that customer. So we know when their birthday is, we know what they like, what they don't like, we know how many times they buy a jar of Marmite every year, and we can kind of bespoke information and tailor the content to them. More importantly, we can tell the story, and that's what we're finding a lot of the people we're talking to are wanting to do, and this is where the creative side of all of this comes, is actually marketing is about telling stories. I tell a story about Variably. I tell a story about where we've been, and we all do that when we're in our interactions with each other. We're all talking, we're telling a story. Brands want to tell you a story, and that's how they sell things to you. They want to tell you an appealing story that that appeals to you, that you actually engage with. So that this system allows you to do that. What we've also realised, though, is going back to that you must do something, actually you also need the let's reward people. Let's reward people for doing what we want them to do. That again started off with when you return this Marmite jar. If you're as old as me, you'll remember going to the corner shop and buying your bottle of pop, and you take the bottle back, empty bottle back, and they give you your 5p. Actually, we need to be doing that now. We need to be doing that with all our containers now, and that's what the digital return system that you might have heard of in Scotland is all about, is giving people 20p for returning a plastic bottle. The problem with that is, if millions of people turn up to Sainsbury's with their empty bottles of Marmite and say, give it to the cashier and say, can I have my 20p? It's just not going to work. So actually what we need is a solution fit for 2023. That system is a tokenized reward system. So a Web3, a blockchain token system that you can easily give people credits for doing what you want them to do. Now, why stop at just giving people credits for returning the bottle? Actually, we're an engagement system. So we can give people credits, give people rewards for doing a whole manner of different things. Some of those things that I put there. So driving direct sales. So imagine Glenfiddich give the supermarket 40% margin. When you buy that bottle of Glenfiddich from Sainsbury's, they'll take 40%. Glenfiddich get the rest. Wouldn't it be better if actually, once I bought that from Sainsbury's and I decide that I like it, or I buy it from the bar, or I buy it from somewhere else, and I decide I like it, that actually I can subscribe directly with Glenfiddich. That gives them better margin. They can reward you for doing so. But getting inventive with a reward system. A reward system, I'm calling it Nectar on steroids. This is where I think Nectar and Tesco Club Points and these people are kind of a bit short-sighted in that they reward you for buying, but they don't reward you for anything else. And there's so many other things that we can reward people for. So building kind of engaged armies of customers around your brand, building communities. When they mention you, or even when they follow you on social media, giving them a micropayment. When they mention you on social media, giving them a micropayment. When they visit one of your physical stores, giving them a payment. All these types of things that we can actually engage with people and reward people for sharing the data and doing the things that they want to do anyway. But then we've actually got people who are receptive to the messages that those brands are giving. So because Glenfiddich know that I'm interested in Glenfiddich, when their advert appears in my Facebook feed, I'm actually receptive to it. So they can then actually bespoke their other marketing based on the analytic data that they're getting from our system to all their other channels, and they're not wasting their money, their marketing budget. As I said before, the main thing that we were looking at doing, because we want to do something kind of with purpose and actually making a difference to the world, one of the main threads of the system is engaging people and enabling the circular economy. The circular economy being reuse, repair, recycle. Reduce is actually the biggest thing in the circular economy, but reuse, repair and recycle. And our system allows that to happen. It tracks the assets, which is something interesting that many people don't actually get when we're talking about the circular economy, is currently, and this is getting into accounts, if there's any accountants in the audience, I don't know. Currently, this jar is what's called a cost of sale. So to sell the Marmite that's in here, it costs them the ingredients for the Marmite, but also the glass and the plastic and the label and so on. When it's a refillable container, the container is no longer a cost of sale. The container is actually an asset of the company. It goes on the balance sheet, it increases the value of the company because it's on the balance sheet. The problem with that is you need to track it. So again, a big reason why this technology works for brands. But track carbon saving, manage rewards, manage logistics, educate and incentivize people is all about the circular economy and what we're trying to do. Something that we're just building now is the supply chain tracking aspect of it. Now, I started off by saying that that's been done to death. It has been done to death. But that's where I look at things differently to many people. I've worked with RFID producers, many of the leading RFID producers in the past. And I won't mention names. I nearly mentioned names. I won't mention names. The leading UK supplier, what he will do is his phone will ring and it'll be somebody saying, I would like to track my Marmite jars with RFID. And he'd go, yeah, no problem. He'd give them the spiel. And then he'd sell them 1 million tags and he'd sell them a reader. And they'd get them shipped on a pallet or whatever, and they'd arrive. And then they'd go, what am I supposed to do with this? Because it's a reader that they don't know how to use. They need to start writing software for it. They need to build applications around it. No idea what to do. How do I even attach these tags to the product? These aren't even the right tags. I can't fit them on the product. They're too big or they're too small or they don't read properly or all these things. So actually, looking at these things differently in terms of what we need to be doing is we need to be giving people systems that actually Windows 95 or whatever it is coined the phrase plug and play, didn't it, years and years ago? Maybe it was in before that. Plug and play systems. So instead of giving people things that, well, here it is and you make it work, we've made it work beforehand, it's all configured, it's ready, plug it in. It works. And that's where we're trying to get to with the supply chain tracking system. Tracking in production, tracking in the warehouse, tracking in transport. So that is another system that we're developing on the back of the RFID technology that we've developed. So that gets me to the closing bit, which we're supposed to be talking about the tokenized reward system. So we're building a tokenized reward system on a blockchain. We're doing that as a private blockchain and building our own blockchain because basically we want to avoid the boom and bust of the Bitcoin and the crypto kind of, that you'll have all heard all the scandals about FTX and all these types of things, and 1 minute Bitcoin's 10 pence and 1 minute's £1 million, not quite, but you get the idea, and then the next minute it's back down to 1 pence. And we want to avoid that at all costs. We also want to make sure that, because we're building a company here that is hopefully going to be around for the next 20, 30 years, whatever, that we actually choose a technology that is also going to be around in 20, 30 years. Now, while I think that Bitcoin probably will be here in 20 years, or Ethereum, or any of these others, could I make a £10 million bet that they are going to be? And the answer to that is no, I can't. And I think if you asked anybody that same question, right, even the most ardent Bitcoin fan, if you say to them, do you think it'll be available in 30 years' time? Yeah, of course it will. Will you bet your house with me now that it's going to be here in 30 years' time? That will be a different matter. I don't think they'd take that bet. Some might, but I don't think many would. So we've built our own blockchain system with our own tokenized reward system. what that does is it actually opens up new and innovative ways of raising funds. And this is one of the things that Paul wanted me to actually talk about tonight. Traditionally, you would go to investors, stand in front of angel investors, venture capital companies, and you would do a presentation, much like this, I suppose, and you would talk about your product, and you'd do some financial forecasting, which were incidentally probably a load of nonsense, because you're forecasting and not even Apple or the most sophisticated companies know what their projections are going to be for the next 5 years, really. But you do this and you present that to them and you say, okay, I want £1 million and I'll give 20% of my company. And they would take shares in your company and they would effectively take part ownership of your company. We do have that raise. We're going down that route. We have an option for giving equity in the company for the right investor. But because we're creating these tokens have value. These tokens, once they're issued to the clients that we're working with, and they start giving them to people for utility, for rewards, for discounts and so on, the token itself starts to get value. If the token has value, actually you can pre-sell it. You can sell it to people up front to say, I will sell you the tokens at a discount. Let's just use imaginary figures. I'll sell you a token for 25p now. As soon as we get our first customer, they're going to want to buy 100 tokens, but they're going to have to pay £1 each for them. So immediately, you will be able to sell your token that you bought for 25p for £1 directly to the first customer. So they make 75p profit, whatever that is, 300% increase on their return on investment, which is more than you would ever get from an equity stake. Not that you would ever get. We're hoping that we'll surpass that with our equity stake, but it would be a very good return on investment to get 300% on an equity stake. So it's kind of a new and innovative way of raising funds. Working with Paul, there are various other projects that we're trying to use the same sort of technology to raise funds for communities of interest and building anything from arts through to small businesses that are actually trying to get off the ground. It also allows for kind of that collaborative and community-based fundraising, almost the word's gone out of my head. The kind of the micro investing type things that you have on the internet, but actually people owning real physical digital assets in your company. So it's something that we're quite excited about. We don't know where it's going to go. We are in a situation that we need to raise funds. So we've got an equity raise at the moment, but we've also got this new innovative Web3 raise that we're looking to push out. So I was very fortunate. I'd worked with Innovate UK. You may or may not have heard of Innovate UK before in the past. Innovate UK are a government agency. They promote research and innovation in both academia and in private SME companies. So I contacted them again and worked with them for a long time. And we put in a application for a competition for funding. The competition was a very open competition. It had a lot of different threads that people could apply for. We were one of, I say we, at this point it was only me, one of 30 people funded out of 3,000. So we now have a situation where Innovate UK have given us money, £50,000, for me to be able to start building an MVP, a minimum viable product for the variable system. So we start making the system. We start designing it, developing it. We start forging relationships with John Redhead, who was supposed to be here tonight, but unfortunately his daughter's poorly. And we start designing the system out. And then, obviously, I knew Antonio from previously. We hadn't built an MVP by this point, but being an entrepreneur and being a creative and whatever, I decided that we're going to launch at the Tech Week Humber. Right, well, I can't afford to pay for a stand because we're a new business. We don't have any money. So we actually were fortunate enough to be funded by the HEY Growth Hub, the Hull Council Growth Hub, who actually funded one of the stands. I think they funded, was it 5, was it? 4 or 5? 5 stands at Tech Week Humber. And that was an amazing launch pad for us. It turned out to be that I was having really good conversations with a lot of people, and some of the faces I can see in the audience now. And we started building collaborations. Collaboration with Paul, which is actually developing into something a lot bigger than we first imagined, didn't we, right back then? And I think Paul will probably reveal some of those in tonight or in future sessions probably. Very much along the same thinking of how things should be done, doing things right, doing things for the good of the planet and people and so on, and doing something that's actually meaningful and worthwhile. That's about it, I think.
Thank you very much.
I don't know whether you've got any questions, but please do link with me on LinkedIn.
So that was a great presentation. I hope you got something away from that today. So one thing I wanted to do before we go on to just to introduce Antonio, is I want to thank Antonio, because if it wasn't for Tech Week Humber, and also Tony Bowler and Michelle, as soon as I walked into Tech Week Humber, Tony said, "You need to see somebody." And he just pointed me to the corner, and I met Matt, and he showed me the product, and I thought, my God, I'm a brand consultant for 40 years. And I just saw something that could get instant customer engagement from tapping a product on a shelf in a store. And I'm thinking, my God, if that's real, and if they've got some secret sauce attached to that can make it unique, that's something I want to be a part of. I hope that happens to you somewhere at some time, about whatever your project is. Because there's someone in this room maybe, or there's going to be someone in future rooms, that has a specific little jigsaw piece, as somebody mentioned earlier on, that makes your product or your idea come to life. And I hope that's something that, if you want to go to another networking point, please talk to Tony Bowler. He's got a fantastic networking organisation that's a little bit more generally business-based, but also quite creative as well. So I'd like to invite Antonio to come and speak now. Elly, I'm taking your spot. I usually introduce Antonio. So welcome, Antonio.
Thanks everyone, and I'll keep it too short. I won't keep it too long, to be honest with you. I'm really glad to be here, and as you probably met me, and you spoke to some of my team as well. So we're actually in a really exciting journey with the Edge Hub. So just to give you an idea, sort of very basic, really what it is. The Edge Hub is a digital skills hub for enterprise and for everyone basically. What we're trying to achieve is to make sure that this place is accessible to all. When you hear about innovation and technology, you start thinking, oh, it's very scary. I can't do tech. It's too scary for me. Actually not. We're here in a room full of creatives, full of technologists, and full of people that are actually not even creative, just in general business. That is what the Edge Hub is about. It's really about bringing all those communities together to create something very special in Hull, for Hull, and for all of us. I'm sick and tired. I mean, Sherin, I'm sorry, I know you're from Leeds, but I'm sick and tired of going to Leeds and having to go to events in Leeds. I really am. Or to meet other people that are quite excited about doing something about our city. This is for our city and it's for all of us. I know the last few years have been very tough on business, really tough on people. What we're trying to create with the Edge Hub is somewhere where you can come in, feel part of a community, whether you have some amazing ideas or you're trying to create something, or you're just simply trying to build your business, or to just learn a new skill. We want to give you the confidence to come somewhere where you feel welcomed, feel part of the team, and be counted as a voice. There's a lot of disparity in the city around what you can and can't do in business, who you can connect, who you can network with. We're sick and tired of that. We really want to make sure that this space is for you. You feel part of the community. So come and have a chat with us. Come and have a look at the space. We're really excited. We're doing something really amazing for the city. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to sort of meeting all of you and finding out more about you. If you've got a minute to talk, I encourage you to come and do a bit of a talk as well. So spend a minute up here, tell us about what you guys are doing. Come and do a bit of viewing as well with us. and it'd be quite good. Is that the Prosecco there? Gone. Do you know what? To make it a bit more exciting, I'd love to take a couple of questions from all of you. Anybody here in the stage, or who will start here, just ask me any question about what would you like to see from a place where you can come in and work for? Because I don't want to be in a place where I can just go in an office and sit in a desk anymore. I'd rather stay at home and not come into the office space. So anybody ask me a question, please. Or start pointing at people. All right, okay. Tony, go on, ask us a question.
I'll ask one.
Okay.
So there's a young kid, 16, on a sink estate in Hull somewhere.
Yeah.
Didn't do well at school. What have you got to offer that person?
Okay, so if you're a 16-year-old person, we can help you, guide you through what you need in your career. What skills you need to be skilling yourself up in terms of opportunities. And then if we skill and help you to upskill, we'll also help you to find the right job for you. And if you're not a person that wants to go into employment, we can also help you start a business. The right idea around business, because we believe businesses don't just want the support for setting it up, but it's also how do you grow a business successfully. That's kind of one of the things that we're going to be doing at the Edge. Okay, any more questions? So how do you get your stuff there, sorry? On PayPal? So payment systems, what are you talking about, sorry? Is it a specific product that you have? Okay, so come and talk to us afterwards because we can answer that question. And there's quite a few people here that, like Matt Houldsworth, that can also help you with those sort of questions. Yeah? Any more questions? Yes?
I have a question, and it's about accessibility. You
Yeah.
mentioned accessibility. Also from a wheelchair point of view, because all the stuff that I've seen out online and everything, the plans look fantastic, but I can't see how accessible it is.
It's going to be very accessible. We've made sure of that, trust me. We're spending quite a lot of money to make sure that it's accessible for everyone, right? Yes, you'll be there for sure. Any more questions? Yes, Tony.
I've had time to think now.
Okay.
In terms of collaboration, one of the key things that we're trying to encourage now is to get people to collaborate and speak openly with each other. So within the Edge, how are you going to create an environment where people can actually feel comfortable to collaborate?
Very good question, thank you. So the way we're designing this space is to be very much more agile workspace, very much more about collaboration. So not every desk is going to be exactly the same, not every chair is going to be the same, because we understand people like to sit differently, people like to see things differently. We're going to have an auditorium as well, space where you'll be able to host your own events. So if you're looking about, doing your own events or networking events or co-working space, so that's how we're really thinking about it. We're thinking about, okay, why should you leave your home office if you work from home? Or why should you be in the comfort of your other office to come out and be part of the community? That's what things that we're thinking about, even to the detail of like we're going to put Amazon lockers, Tesco deliveries if you can't get home quick enough, you can get it delivered to the Edge. So these are the little things that we're really talking about. But on the other hand, we're also working with some of the biggest brands in the world. We're working with the likes of Google, Amazon, IBM, Microsoft, you name it. So we're really trying to put ourselves on the map. But we know we're only going to be successful if everybody plays a part. So I really encourage all of you to come and have a look at it. If you've got ideas on how we can improve it, we're always listening as well. So, which is quite exciting to be around technologists and creative people and everybody else. Any more questions? Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, Antonio, as a refurb, what challenges did you have around environmental standards and sustainability and energy?
Well, as you well know, we're working quite closely with the local authorities on this and with the big brands. There have been a lot of challenges around that. We're literally looking at everything that's got green credentials as our products. And Eleanor in our team here will tell you that she's had to have some training around sustainability. So she's the sustainability queen, as we call her. So she knows exactly what we're talking about. So there's a lot of challenges around this, but we're very conscious in terms of the products that we're using, everything that's going in the building, from panels to carpets. We're asking all our suppliers to provide proof that the products are sustainable and environmentally friendly, which is quite important for us. Okay? Any more questions? No? Okay, I'm going to be here all night anyway, so come and see me at the bar if you want some. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Antonio. We can have a little break now, toilet break, and you're very welcome to go to the bar and get the tea, coffee, or whatever. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes, and we're going to introduce, well, actually, we might do 1 minute introductions. So very quickly, before Sherin speaks, but I'm sure you're going to enjoy his talk this evening. So if you'd like to go to the bar, thank you.
To be a winner, never meant to be a quitter. But this is our new satisfaction. Chip thrills, chip tricks. It seems like the way to live.
I'd like to introduce Sherin Matthew. I'm not going to tell you too much about him because he's a world leader of artificial intelligence. We're very lucky to have him here tonight. He's currently working with Leeds City Council to introduce a citywide AI teaching course, accelerated teaching course that we can all benefit from, and I'd love to see something like that happening in Hull. We desperately need that. Every business in Hull is going to be affected in some way by AI, and Sherin has a particular human perspective on this that I think makes us all much more comfortable with the idea of what AI really means to us. So would you please welcome Sherin Matthew.
Me here. Thanks, Paul. It's great to see Tony, Antonio, and yeah, it brings back memories. I used to be working as a business intelligence professional consultant in Hull Uni campus for a company called APD, if anyone knows APD. Right, back in the days. So I was there for a couple of years. I played cricket for Hull Uni staff. I've been to Spiders, Pipers, Sugar Mill. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's not mention that. But yeah, no, brings back good memories, and it's really nice to see what you've done, Antonio and Paul, for keeping a community like this alive. I'm extremely passionate about AI, and my journey to AI was quite a journey. And let me just start with, after I left Hull, things changed for me a little bit, and I started to really understand the power of data, and I had the opportunity to work with NHS back in 2014 and 15. And then I thought it would be amazing if we put AI in this healthcare system to predict appointment cancellations, cancer, and see what else we can do. Pathway management. If ambulance is turning up, can we prepare the bed and reduce the waiting time in A&E? And all great ideas, but the culture absolutely killed me. And I was sat there with this amazing tech capability, absolutely disappointed, and I moved on to various other things. But for me, that was a wake-up moment that even big companies who have data, who have potential, and who have problems that they need to solve, culture almost killed the idea. So that gave birth to the concept, which is AI Tech North. So I know Jeff has been involved, and Antonio, you've been involved with it. AI Tech North was a community that I built back in 2018 to empower the northern ecosystem to understand and democratize the power of AI strategically and ethically. Because all these big companies, I worked with big companies, and I felt like I was making them rich. And there was just simple recipe, simple corporate framework delivered by experts, and they had the resources and funding. And I thought, how about we just take this and share it with local businesses, founders, and startups, and people, those who have ideas, and just share this recipe so that they can build something which is global. And that's where, the whole idea of AI Tech UK came to place. So yeah, I've been running this community for the last 5 years. We've been delivering AI accelerator program cross-region. I've been in Hull so many times. Not just Hull, we've been to Newcastle, Midlands, Manchester, Sheffield, even in London. And we democratize the strategic and ethical use of AI for everyone. So what I'll do today is I'll just give you a quick overview of what is AI and the power of AI, and how we can probably think of ethical use cases, if that's okay. Okay. Right. So first and foremost, why are we here, right? All these things that you're seeing on the screen right now, this is why we're here, right? Tons of data, but people don't know what to do with it. There is amazing technology out there, right? All the way from cloud to ChatGPT, right? And we don't know how to use it sometimes, right? It is changing at a pace where even experts like myself, I went to House of Lords last week, right? Budget was announced that day. ChatGPT was announced. I came back home at 10:30 at night and I was just like, oh my word. And literally next day I had a workshop where I know audience is going to ask, what is ChatGPT for? How do you use it? I'm like, wait, even I need to digest this information. So it's changing so rapidly, and intelligence has become a fashion, right? We don't do normal basic things anymore. Everything is intelligent, everything is automated, everything is extremely connected. Internet is great, at the same time it's dangerous. So how do we put technology and use technology in an effective and ethical manner becomes extremely critical. Something inevitable happens at this point, which is AI or advanced innovation. And this is, I would say, the pinnacle of digital transformation. Best way to summarize is this is Industry 4.0, and this is also the new software, right? What this means is this is going to impact each and every industry. Just like the way we use software, this is the new version of software, right? Your business, you could be applying AI to create the network and find out who's who and what tags they can. You could just use the tags and connect them based on the metadata. Obviously, you're a Web3 expert, you can see how AI will help you. And it literally is helping each and every businesses, because of which what we're seeing today is an AI gold rush. And unfortunately, this gold rush is impacting each and every industry. So what you're seeing over here on the screen is tech, automotive business, fintech, health tech, and all the way to banking, right? Everything is getting impacted by AI in one way or the other. And other fascinating fact is everyone's trying, everyone is innovating, everyone is transforming. And interesting thing to see here is you will see large number of experimenters. So people are experimenting and trying. And when they try, when they succeed, that's when they become the achievers. So you can see that AI is extremely powerful, and it probably is not a silver bullet. It takes time. You have to refine it and make it happen with right users, with right culture, and also taking the right approach, which is being ethical as well. I'm not going to go into the details of what each and every AI technology is out there in the world, but just to give you a quick summary, every platform, every service provider has some form of AI available. And there is different types of AI as well. So some AI, they're good at translating text. Some AI is capable of translating speech to something. Image detection and speech detection. Then you've got knowledge capability. What knowledge capability means in this context is you may have lots of paper-based documents or digital documents. It can understand what's in that document. And really, if you were to just say, I'm looking for a person stood next to a canvas, it can actually identify that, which is in a way scary. But if you're a traditional business and you're sat with a heap of document and you can't find a client ID, invoice date, or address of a certain client in 2001, how do you do that? You might be spending hours. So AI can sometimes optimize your business, okay? So, but the critical thing over here is you've got to have a problem. If you don't have a problem, you probably don't need AI. Also, other thing is you need to have a process. If there's a business process such as financial business process or a networking business where you have a process of getting people in, connecting and seeing the value, and you can measure these things. Anywhere you can measure and track data, you have potential use case for AI. And sometimes AI may not be the silver bullet, as I said, but in some cases it might be. And in some businesses, they might be in this particular situation, okay, where you really might be struggling, and you might be doing it the hard way, right? So if there's a smart way to do it, I think AI could probably help. And there is a recipe which I'll share shortly. But before we jump into AI, one important thing to just remember is it comes with few challenges. Just like any technology, right? Even if you want to build a software, it comes with its challenges. But AI comes with its own challenge, which is you probably need some sort of data. If you don't have data, make a digital system that generates that data. So you have an audit trail of what your business process is, so that you can see, I'm not making money here, I'm losing money here, my clients are not converting. If I do this, I get that, right? That's the insights you need. When you have that type of insights, AI can help to make it a bit more predictive and smart. Skills plays a key role, technology plays a key role, and decision making plays a key role, and obviously culture. If you don't have the culture, it will be the plan and your idea and your investment for breakfast. Now, the recipe is this. Start with a problem. You've got to have a problem. I'm going to use your problem in this case, which is you got a problem, which is I want to connect the right person with the other right person, right? How do I make this match happen? Now, in this case, the use case is empowerment. You're empowering two people, right? If you're running a finance business or a shop and you don't have enough staff, how do you empower your business? You could have a chatbot on your website, right? Train it in advance, saying if you open on this day, you can ask, you get this and you get that. Just train it in advance. So chatbot, just a simple AI, could empower your business. If you have a process, you can enhance your process. If you have certain system that's not performing to optimum standards, you can optimize that system with looking at the data and where it is breaking or failing. Utilities, or if you have sensors, you can use sensor data. So the use case is just endless. But I think the recipe here is, can you empower your business? Can you engage with your users and create more engagement? Can you enhance your process? Can you optimize your system? And can you, transform the existing technology, which could be an old technology, turn that into something digitally smart? Okay, and you can take any path from that point. You could build from scratch, or you could use something pre-built. For tonight, I thought it might be worth just sharing some creative examples, how AI is being used in some creative industries. I don't know if the audio will work, but you can see how generative AI is playing a role in transforming interior design, for example. Can you all see that? Yeah, so generative AI is where it gets slightly ethical or unethical, depending on how you're using it. We'll cover that shortly. Marketing, you can create some cool marketing content. Again, copyrights, ownership, all of this comes into play. Obviously, if this content was already on internet, on public domain, then there's a that's a different story. Then, I don't know if you guys have heard this or seen this, where the language was changed, the context was changed, not context, she was swearing in this video, so the swear word was just muted, and the language translation happened in real time. So all of this is deep learning AI behind the scene, playing or changing the audio of the actor. It is still, I would say, fairly ethical, because they still have retained the artist, right? Where it gets unethical is, this is where it starts. Obviously, the audio doesn't work, audio is not working here, but this is Leonardo DiCaprio giving a speech about the UN. He's the ambassador at the UN for climate change, and his keynote could be completely tweaked. The audio could be changed, and this could turn into a false message. And this is where it starts getting unethical. And there are underlying technology which enables this as well. So for example, there is text conversion software that you just give a prompt, can I make a dog or panda dance? And it will just do it in 4D. But I think the ethical part of this is who should be doing this? It should be done by a designer who's already, capable of building Photoshop or Adobe stuff or using any CAD tools. If they are capable of doing this, they should have the ownership of using these type of powerful AI technology to create some advanced designs. Generative AI, you can just draw something and it turns into all sorts of stuff. For example, turn Peaky Blinder into an astronaut, right? And it just did it and gave few options. Shoes, give me some options of shoes, good shoes. And it just created its own version of shoes. Even though the spelling of shoes was wrong in this case, it still managed to get it right, funny enough. Give me some options of interior designs. This is all generative. And more, and it carries on, Art obviously gets impacted because of the digital availability of data. So amount of data that was already available, the generative AI is capable of just using that and probably doing a bit more or adding its own touch to it. There was an artist called Greg Ruchowski. I don't know if you heard of Greg Ruchowski. I would say if you don't know, just Google him. DALL-E, which is a generative AI image creator, if you just said, make a dog, but in the Greg Ruchowski style, it will come up with his own version, but in Greg Ruchowski style. So that really became popular. Every artist, digital artist out there using generative AI was using that style. And he was like, this is mine. This is my creativity. And I used to get paid for this. I got physical paintings, digital paintings so this is where we are getting into a borderline unethical territory. And how do we solve all of this problem? So we have been researching for the last 3 years, talking to World Economic Forum, United Nations, ICO, Office of AI. And there's one thing that we've been trying to push, and I'm gonna get to that quickly. Skipping all of this. And the biggest challenge with AI is we did not even think about intellectual privacy, right? To explain intellectual privacy, I need to explain what is data privacy. So you all understand to a certain extent what GDPR is? Yeah? For those who don't know, it means right to protect our personal information, right? Which means when I give my personal information to you, you have responsibility to store it, process it, be transparent about it, and when I say delete it, you have to delete it, right? That's what it means. So that is personal information, okay, which is what? Email address, postcode, maybe credit card, phone number, date of birth. What if I told you you could actually change your name? You can change your email address, you can change your phone number, you can change your address. But what you can't change is our genetic intelligence, right? And intelligence is what makes me an artist, a speaker, an AI expert, a lawyer, a networking expert, that's what makes us who we are. So the minute we transfer our intelligence into machine, we have lost a part of our knowledge, our hard-earned skills, our, real intelligence, and we get paid for it. So imagine if there was an AI lawyer tomorrow, or AI copywriter tomorrow, or an AI farmer, or AI driver, taxi driver, let's say, and which is already happening, by the way, right? And this is the scary bit. So what we did was we researched and found out what intellectual privacy really means. And intellectual privacy is making sure our intelligence is retained the ownership when it goes to a machine, because machine learning or AI learns. If we did not do that, or if we didn't know it, or if we didn't show machine at the first place, machine would never know. Machine would never know how to farm or bake a cake or draw something at the first place if we humans didn't do it. So intellectual privacy was the missing puzzle. So we've been fighting for intellectual privacy, and there are a few champions who are supporting us, and we're launching a product called Open Ethics, which really helps people to apply ethics in a practical design thinking manner. So one of our tools and our knowledge service or one of the services that we deliver is called Open Ethics and Ethics 360-degree program. And we factor first thing first. Did a human being or a person, did they do this task before you made AI? And if the answer is yes, okay, now you need to then define the purpose. Why are you building this? If someone was doing this art before you made a generative AI art software, let's say. So if an artist was doing this before generative AI, is it ethical? The next question is where it gets interesting. I made this software to empower designers so that they could work faster, better, or get more efficiency. Yes, then it's good. But if anyone like Antonio starts making some, amazing Van Gogh style painting using generative AI and starts selling it, Antonio, I don't think you ever done any art course, right? There you go. So, it just shows that, in wrong hands, it could be a dangerous commercial tool. So then it leads into the next thing, which is how do you manage the sustainability of this particular AI, which is what happens to existing skills, existing jobs, art school, existing CAD software, which people have paid license for. So the disruption is measured and people don't factor this. So sustainability is a huge, huge agenda, not just the carbon footprint or energy. It is how many jobs or skills you're disrupting, what's happening to the society, the ecosystem of artists or taxi drivers or farmers who will be disrupted by this robotic new tech. If someone made robotic doctor, that just breaks the entire medical college, school, junior doctor, the books, professors who are out there trying to deliver, or build the future generation of medical students. So sustainability is not just the carbon footprint, it's bigger than that. So we measure that. Lastly, when we talk about anything deployed in the public world or public domain, take a simple example of just making a small change on the road, like just doing a little road works. We do full risk assessment. If we were to change this layout of this place, we will do a full risk assessment. Running an event, we will do a full risk assessment. You get the picture. But when we deploy a software in the real world, these big companies are not carrying out any risk assessment. And this is the biggest problem, even with software like ChatGPT. What they have done is that they just made it in Silicon Valley and just straight away deployed with no pilot. They haven't done any risk assessment. Even the CEO of OpenAI and DeepMind, they're scared of AI. Which is, I find, if you're scared yourself, why on earth would you put this in front of the world? And there's 100 million users already. So that's scary. So one of the last thing, if you do identify it's scary, you have responsibility and accountability to fix it. If Facebook got it wrong, they should fix it. But they don't do that because no one's following an ethical framework. Right now, there's a huge push for regulations from EU side, from UK, and from various other global powers, from Singapore and even in US. So all of them are really trying to push regulations so that AI becomes ethical and accessible to all and used as a tool instead of something that is right now, which looks like is a Wild West. I'm going to share one last example before I close. This is an ad by Ryan Reynolds, and he's talking about ChatGPT. So he said, I'm going to run an ad, but I didn't know what to say. So I said, I'm going to give a prompt. So the prompt was, make a joke, use some curse words, and say that I'm running an ad and the campaign is still going. And yeah, I'm a big wireless company, new company. And ChatGPT literally used his style, actually said the curse word, and made a joke, and really made a perfect ad as him, which was scary as hell. But I think what was powerful in this context was it was Ryan Reynolds who was delivering the joke, which means he retained the copyrights or intellectual rights of what AI knows in this context. So there is a certain way in which you could use technology, but making sure it's ethical, you have the ownership, and you know what you're doing with it. If you're building an AI lawyer, that doesn't mean everyone could be AI lawyer. It needs to help the lawyers to do what they do. I think hope it kind of gives you some idea where we're going with this. I'm going to say this is what I could do best in 30 minutes, but we do run a full program, as Paul mentioned. We are funded by City Council and Innovate UK to run a 3-month program where we try to create AI as a positive culture. We also run a 3-week course where we talk in depth of how can you design and apply AI practically in your day-to-day business. So yeah, that's us. Do you want the previous one or this one? Do you want the previous slide? Yeah, okay. That's fine. So this is our journey. It wasn't easy. I think most of the founders and leaders would know. I think the only way I can justify why I'm here and not going to salsa class and dancing with ladies is...
That's later. Just hang on.
Hang on, we'll do it. Is I'm passionate. And I think when you're passionate and you're driven, you have a purpose and your goal, trust me, nothing stops you. So I will say, whatever goal you have, think big, think global, and we're here to support you. So yeah, reach out to me if you need any AI or ethical advice. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Any questions, anyone?
Is it possible to have a copy of the slides?
Oh, okay. Sure, yeah, I can share that. Any other questions?
Yes, how do you stop the AI creators from pushing their own agendas?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
How do you prevent the creators of AI from pushing their own products, etc.?
So how do you prevent?
Yeah, so the AI can pretend to be intelligent, but in effect, it was promoting something that is pre-downloaded.
Okay.
Could you repeat the question?
So if I understood correctly, AI could pretend that it knows information. How do you challenge the misinformation?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this case, AI, in simple terms, it's maths behind the scene. Okay. The difference between AI and us is we got conscience, we got confidence, whereas AI has statistics and accuracy, right? So when you, let's do a simple experiment, okay? Number of bedrooms in my house, right? And the price of the house, okay? And let's say if I start plotting this, okay? More bedroom means it will be expensive to have that big house. Simple graph, and probably it looks like a straight line. So what AI will do is, okay, so you have 5 bedroom. I think the house price of that probably in Hull will be like 200K. if your postcode is this or that, it's guessing, right? It's giving you an estimate like Zoopla does. Okay. Now, what we have to do is, as a human, accept the accuracy and also take the responsibility of the inaccuracy. Okay. So this is where ethics comes into play. There are certain systems like Zoopla, for instance, where accuracy doesn't mean someone's going to die if it gets wrong. Okay. But in case of, say, cancer prediction or pharmacy or drug creation or credit scoring and loan approvals, you get this wrong, someone's not going to get a house, or someone's going to be detected with no cancer and could walk away and potentially could have cancer. So the risk is high. So what we often suggest is, when you have low risk AI, and if it's giving you some information, it depends on the context and the way you're using the information. I would say accept or challenge. Whereas if it's giving you information in a critical scenario, have human in the loop and always challenge. And you challenge with authority. If you don't have someone with authority to challenge, that's not the way you use software. So there is this best practice guidelines to how to use AI and how to design an AI business as well. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
How does AI cross over with like blockchain and NFTs and stuff like that? Whereas like if you've got the NFTs that are giving a credibility to something to nip the ownership of something.
Yeah.
And blockchain to make that information definite and immutable. And how is that working? How is AI in the blockchain? How is that working? Is it in parallel? Or is it crossing over?
Yeah, it's a bit of a, I wouldn't say, it could work in parallel, and two different technologies of two different layers. The open ethics tool that we have, it's got no AI yet, but it has an element of Web3 in it. The reason we use Web3 and blockchain is for trust. That is trusted. So if your use case is, I want trust, right? Stick it on blockchain. Simple. But if you're thinking of AI will be more it will help if you have data to predict. So I would say two different technologies, but if you got the data history on blockchain, then you could probably weave time series information. For example, amount of ice cream sold in September is 2 million, whereas ice cream sold in December is 250,000. And if these information is in your blockchain system, you could probably see a trend, and you could just use the data point, if that makes sense. But AI can do that anywhere. It doesn't need blockchain. It will work well with blockchain, because really too powerful technology. It need not be in blockchain. So yeah, AI is just anything, anywhere, anyhow. It will just work, as long as it's got data. Yeah.
Yeah, Sherin, I was just trying to get my head around the intellectual privacy.
Yeah.
Because at one level it sounded to me like it was almost like a guild system for existing experts to get the benefit out of the new AI tools. The common person is not allowed to into that guild system. Antonio can't become a designer and use an AI tool and open up his own inner designer in that sense.
Yeah.
I can't use an AI lawyer tool to increase my knowledge about the problem that I have, so when I actually go and see a lawyer, I have a very effective and shorter engagement with that lawyer, less cost.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm benefiting from that. But that intellectual privacy seems like a guild system to say, no, that's for existing experts.
Yes.
Benefit out of.
Yeah, so
Not you, the common people.
yeah, so what you just described is the second bit of the circle, which was the purpose. So if you're using AI for augmentation, where you're not making the final decision of, you're not using the output of legal AI to write a legal contract and do the house sale by yourself. You see where I'm going with this? You still need a solicitor to go through the paperwork. You can still prepare what you need to prepare and learn about, AI and law. ChatGPT is a prime example. So ChatGPT is like the world's biggest library just exposed on a touch of a fingertip. So if you want to use ChatGPT to learn, yeah, no one's stopping you. But if you're using ChatGPT to make legal decisions, you're not a bar qualified person. So it's just to make sure that we are protecting the end users and people who will be will see the outcome of the potential unethical outcomes of AI. It's not.
I do agree with that. I can get a conveyancing letter, around a house sale done to 100% effectiveness of a solicitor, take it to him, and he just stamps it like a notary. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't need to spend, £1,000 with him. I just get £100.
Well,
whatever. That is the correct use of AI that is the tools that are allowing everybody to do.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily good for a solicitor because he's going to lose £900 worth of potential work, and that is going to happen all the way through.
Yes, and let's put it this way.
Jobs, and we can't stop it. That is what
Let's put it this way. If the AI was a software made by the conveyancing team or the company, and they gave you, here you go, here's the link, you do it yourself, and it saves you X amount of time and money, that sounds more ethical. You see where I'm going with this? Otherwise, there will be no conveyancing business.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that, but the printing press completely transformed, medieval Europe, over 90 years.
Yeah.
Many jobs were created, but also many professions were taken out of existence.
Yeah, same thing. It's gonna happen in all industries. So, healthcare is going to get heavily impacted, and NHS is already struggling. So, if AI was to help the doctors to do more appointments or see things quickly and reduce their paperwork, amazing.
Yeah, the French have already launched Copilot, which is a doctor's assistant using ChatGPT and everything. So, the transformation that this AI and large language models and ChatGPT and the predictive machine learning models around data and whatever is going to transform, in my opinion,
it will.
The world in 9 years, not 90.
Yes, it's already transforming, but yeah. There's an ethical line. Ethical line that's not been defined, and I think the best way we can do is think about the risk and protect people, and think about the use case, evaluate, is it a low risk? In this case, it's a low risk if you are making extreme legal decisions and you really need a good lawyer there, right? You can't rely on ChatGPT, which has got, inaccuracies still. Yeah. Sorry, there was a question behind you.
Can I just ask one quick, so GPT-4 passed
the
American bar exam in the 90th percentile.
Yes.
So
it's scary. It's absolutely scary. And the scary thing about ChatGPT-4, it's multimodal. That is the most scariest thing ever. It means if there's a best lawyer in this room and the best artist in this room and the best singer in this room and the best videographer in this room, it's everything put together in one. And that's beyond superhuman. So imagine that power just being unleashed like wild. Anyone can just use it and do anything. That is disruptive, right? So there should have been a law which has not been written, and I've been thinking about at least posting about this, is multimodal AI could cause a huge problem. If ChatGPT now connects with, let's say, the best driving data in the world, which Tesla has, and the Twitter data that Tesla or Elon Musk has, and then the neural link network that he has, and then he's also trying to build a humanoid. Let's connect all these multimodal, super intelligent technology and connect them together and put them into one. That's sentient.
say you just needed to code itself into sentience.
Exactly. So we were really like at the edge of a very dangerous era, and that's why we need to stop things like crazy multimodal technologies and unleashing this, because nothing's stopping from ChatGPT to connect from this network to that model somewhere, which is trained on something else, right? So we are entering a very dangerous space. So I'm still working on ChatGPT 4 and trying to see how that could be managed.
I agree with the ethics about sentience and whatever, and some limiters that definitely need to be
Yeah.
on that. Everything else doesn't need that. I just see it.
Like it.
Dog.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is what is going to happen. Yeah. Sorry.
One last question.
Okay, well, actually my question follows on from that, because you mentioned about, there are a number of countries that are looking at this in terms of what we do to protect people.
Yeah.
And kind of is a little bit concerned, right? Because we're supposed to have this UK online safety bill, which is about 20 years too late.
Yeah.
Written by people who haven't got a clue. And, so my concern is, we're having this conversation now, we know we need to have some way of regulating to protect people. Is it going to take another 20 years?
This is the problem.
To realise the impacts of this and actually have the knowledge and the guts to go ahead and do what they need to do.
Yeah, so this is why we have built open ethics, because I went to the UN guys and they said, intellectual privacy, what is it? It's human rights to intelligence. It's my right to my intelligence, and I just need to make sure what goes from here to machine and what goes from machine to here is protected. If intellectual privacy or human right to intelligence was defined, Trump wouldn't have been elected. Because what happened was, it was an intellectual privacy breach of public. Because we know what was right, but a machine, an algorithm has rewired the truth at scale. Deepfake becomes illegal because it's rewiring the intelligence and the truth. So intellectual privacy or human right to intelligence makes AI ethical. And that was missing. So when they heard that, they were like, 10 years at least, if you do come and talk to us every day. About 10 years. So what we did, we took a different approach. Instead of going with regulation, which we know will come at some point, but we don't know when. So we went with a guideline-based approach. So when you sell your car to each other, first thing you check is MOT. MOT, right? So you then know this car is trustworthy, SAT is MOT, right? What we are building is a guideline-based system, which means you follow certain guidelines. Like, no matter where you are, you have to wear your seatbelt, right? Even if it doesn't say in that country, wear a seatbelt. If you're out there in the wild, you will put your helmet and seatbelt on, right? If you're on a bike or a car, right? We're making sure whatever you build, even if it's in the wild west or wherever, just build with some guidelines. So what we've done is, instead of going with regulation to come and say, put your seatbelt on, we're just putting guidelines in place and we're creating an MOT of that, which means you got everything. You got airbag, you got lights, you got seatbelt. And if you show that, there will be two products, a bad Facebook and a transparent Facebook with MOT. Which one would you buy? So people will make the choice. So we're giving the power in the hands of people. That's why the platform is called Open Ethics and it's Web3.
Brilliant. Thank you. Genuinely inspiring talk there. My brain's buzzing with potential questions and applications of where this is going, what's this going to mean for you as creators and technologists for the future. And there are not going to be any businesses, any organisations that are not going to be affected by this. But I'm so pleased because it means that you're at the centre of this. Your human intelligence is going to play a part. You just have to learn more. You have to educate. We have to educate ourselves on how it's going to be used. But whatever niche in life that you want to create for yourself, you now kind of have the power, and as creatives particularly, we have always been the people that have broken down those rules. We've questioned the narrative on certain things, and we've brought
certainly more logical data analysts into ideas, into questions as well. So we have a part to play. There's no two ways about it. And I hope that after tonight you've learned a little bit more, and that you'll go out and tell people that you went to #Creative1Hull and that you enjoyed yourself, and you'll perhaps get more people to the next event, which I'm sure will be another great topic. So thank you for coming this evening. It is now just a little bit of an hour of creative mingling, as I call it. So please stay behind. It's closing at 10 o'clock. Thanks again to the team at the Edge Hub for helping to organise, and Antonio for all he's doing in Hull, and for the speakers here tonight for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.